the brackets are set. The girls' state basketball tournament week is upon us, and that means the Nebraska Prep Zone Report is back for another week. I'm your host, Dylan Adams, joined once again by Omaha World-Herald staff writer Mike Patterson. And Mike, we're here to throw a little preview together for the audience out there. We're going to talk the top players in this tournament to watch at the end, but we're going to start with the brackets. Let's get right to them and some expert predictions from you.
Well, let's take a quick look at Class A, Dylan. And Millard West, 24-1, top seed, top ranked. They deserve that favorites role. We've got them going to the final, where we think they might meet Bellevue West. The T-Birds have really had a come on the second half of the season. They're riding a very nice winning streak. Their seniors have stepped up, leading the way. So I think it might be Millard West and Bellevue West in that final. It's tough to pick against the Wildcats. We'll pick them to capture their first state title. But boy, I think the T-Birds are really going to make them work for it if it comes to that point.
Yeah, you think about the T-Birds getting off to that shaky 6-6 start after being the preseason number one, like you said, and now have reeled off 12 in a row. Their last loss came well over a month ago. It was against Millard West, but I think they played them pretty tough then. And yeah, Coach Dane Bacon and company have really righted that ship, and they're getting that good guard play. I think we'll discuss Naomi White and a few others at the end of this show, but yeah, that's kind of the dark horse, you would say, right, in Class A.
Right. Like I said, I don't know if it's going to come to that, and you hate to look ahead to what first round and semifinals, but I'd probably be surprised if it wasn't Millard West and Bellevue West there at the end.
Just some other storylines, I guess you can hit in Class A real quick. We're going to have new blood this year. Millard South, the defending champ, didn't make it into the tournament. We also have 3 Lincoln teams in Southeast versus Southwest in the first round. That'll be kind of fun. Of course, Southeast is kind of bringing that traditional power back. They're one of the blue bloods in Class A. Haven't been in 11 years though, and so they're making their return. And then Southwest, led by Kennedy Williams, I'm sure that's another player to watch that we'll get to. And then you think about Papio South, they knocked off Lincoln Northeast, who has one of the top players in Class A, the leading scorer and rebounder in Danila Washington.
Right. Yeah, it's too bad that Northeast didn't make it because fans would have loved to seen Washington play. She led Class A in scoring and rebounding, but like you said, it was really a strong year for the Lincoln schools. And you mentioned Southeast getting back there. It's been quite a while. I think it's been 11 years since the Knights have been there, and they had their greatest success under John Larson. And everybody who knows anything about girls basketball knows what John did at Southeast, and then later Crete. But yeah, like I said, strong field, Class A, top to bottom. So I think it's going to be an interesting Class A tourney.
Yeah, we're excited for that. So if we want to dive right into Class B now, obviously the top headline maybe of the whole tournament of the whole week is Britt Prince and Elkhorn North chasing that 4-for-4. We've talked about her at length on this show over the course of this season. She's worth the cost of admission by herself. If you want to just go watch her for 3 days, I think that's worth it.
I think that'd be a great way to spend your money because she is fun to watch. A lot of local people are so happy that she's going to be going on to Nebraska, but she's got some work to do before she heads off to Nebraska. And Elkhorn North will be going for their 4th straight title. I think it'll be a surprise if they don't face Omaha Scud in that final for the 3rd straight year. The Skyhawks have had a great season, 25-1. Their only loss coming against Elkhorn North. So I think when all is said and done in Class B, it'll probably be Elkhorn North and Scud again. And I think the Skyhawks could really give them a run for their money, but I just can't pick against Elkhorn North finishing off with Britt Prince and we should mention McKenna Murphy has had a really great season for Elkhorn North too.
Yes.
So
yep.
I think the Wolves will do enough to finish off that Class B championship.
If you had to pick a dark horse besides those two, you have Waverly sitting there as the 5 seed. They're a little dangerous. Obviously, gave the Wolves their only loss this season, so you could say they have the win of the year in Class B. But they get the newcomer Gretna East in the first round. So I think that's one of my favorite matchups to watch on Thursday, I think.
I think if you wanted to pick a dark horse, it would come from that game, Dylan, because like you said, Gretna East, their first year of varsity play, and there they are already at state. And Waverly is the only team that was able to figure out how to beat Elkhorn North. So look at the winner of that game to maybe make a little bit of noise. They would probably be playing Scott in a semifinal, so there's that hurdle to climb. And really, it has been Elkhorn North and Scott for the most part this season. But I think if you're looking for a dark horse, it's probably one of those two teams you just mentioned.
All right. So if we want to dive into C1, we have another what do you want to call this? A legacy going here with North Bend going for 5 in a row.
I think
Nice.
one is really one of the more interesting classes, Dylan, in large part because North Bend made it back, and their season was, by their standards, not what it has been, but they figured out a way to win their district final, and there they are back at state. And once they get at state, look out because the Tigers know what to do once they get down there. And yeah, they'll be playing top-seeded Lincoln Christian that first game, and that one really scared me. And got undefeated Bridgeport also in that bracket. Minden's had a good season. And then on the other side, you've got Sydney, 24-1, probably their best season in many, many years. And Grand Island Central Catholic is always there. So I really struggled with this class, but I thought Bridgeport with Olivia Loomis Goldtoll, they've come close the last couple of years. Her sister has graduated. She's carried the team now. So I went out a little bit all in there, fourth seeded Bridgeport. We'll pick them to somehow get it done and take home their first state title.
Some really interesting matchups right off the bat in that bracket for sure. So I like the pick though. You know, the lone undefeated team in that class to make it, I guess. And so yeah, if we want to dive right into C2, um, obviously going to have a new winner there too because Pender, the defending C2 champ, is now in D1.
Right. Yeah, another difficult class to pick. And here's the other undefeated team at state is Crofton. They're 25-0. They've got a ton of experience and just previously coached by Aaron Losing, and he led them to a lot of state titles. And they've got a lot of, much like Southeast, what we were talking about in Class A, a lot of tradition there. So Crofton, I'd like them to possibly prevail over UTAN. They've had a great season too. UTAN's got Naya Barrera Vertigray in that first rounder, and that could be a little bit of a test for UTAN. But and Clarkson Lee is playing Crofton in the first round. I think that could be a tough one. And we've got teams like Elmwood Murdoch and Oakland Craig also in there. But I think when it's all over, I'm looking for the Warriors of Crofton to take home that title in C2.
Yeah, Elmwood Murdoch has the 3 seed, only one loss on the year, 24-1. They're pretty impressive too. So yeah, that will be interesting to watch. And then, like I said, the reigning C2 champ has been pretty much the #1 team in D1 all year, the Pender Pendragons.
The rarity when you got two defending champions in the same class, but Pender won C2 and Centura won D1. So Guardian Angel Central Catholic from West Point has had a really nice season. And I think it might come down to Pender and West Point GACC playing well, they played earlier this season. That was Pender's only loss was to GACC. So, and that was overtime. So I think we might have a rematch of that game in the final. Pender, great three-point shooting team. I think you remember they had 23 three-pointers in one game this season. They had one player who made 13. Those were state records. So whether they can do that again down at state remains to be seen. But I'm looking for Pender and GACC to play in that final. And boy, toss up there. But one of my favorite nicknames, the Pendragons of Pender. We'll take them to take home the title.
I like it, and we can only hope that that rematch, if it comes to that, will be as good as the first game. An overtime title game would be awesome to watch for sure. So, getting to our final class here, Class D2, the 1 seed is Overton, and I believe are they the defending champs?
No,
No,
Sacred Heart is,
that's right. Okay.
and they're back. They're the
Yep.
two-time defending champion, and seem to be there every year. So I think actually Sacred Heart and Lincoln Southeast are tied for most state tourney appearances of all schools. This will be 28 for both
Wow.
of them. So that shows you they've been there pretty much every year. And that's I'll tell you D2. I hate to sound like a broken record, Dylan, but again, I think really tough. And Overton's the top seed. And what worried me is they haven't been to state in about 20 years, but they have several of the same athletes that played on the volleyball team. And the Overton volleyball team just steamrolled people at,
Sure.
at the tournament. So I don't think tournament jitters are going to be a problem for this team. So I like Overton making the final, probably against either Sacred Heart or Why Not. Why Not's another team that seems to be there every year. Why Not plays a really tough full court pressing defense that I've seen it drive several state tourney teams crazy down there. They usually don't have a lot of height, but they've got a lot of girls running around and seem like they're like Energizer bunnies down there. They're, lots of energy and they never quit. So, but when all is said and done, I think I picked Overton over Why Not in that final. I think Sacred Heart might have something to say about that, but we'll stick with Overton in D2. Kind of a little bit of a, I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but we'll see. That's why they play the games, Dylan.
That's right. I can see how, 50-50 you are on some of these games. And to your point, I mean, a lot of these matchups are really, really marginal. The differences between these teams when it gets to this time of year, it's difficult to predict. So I don't blame you for for having some difficulties. But yeah, you mentioned that Why Not team. They always have really solid athletes up there for the Devils.
Right. Steve Wiesler's done a really nice job of coaching. Like I said, they don't have a lot of height, but they always bring those teams there that just drive other teams crazy with their pressing defense. And that kind of defense can take you a long way at the state tournament.
Absolutely. So now, if we want to get into now kind of the top players to watch in this tournament, starting in Class A, I think you have to start with Nelly Gessert. She is going to be the leading scorer. I think over 18 points a game this season. Out of all the players that qualified, she is the top one. Anaya Jones, though, you got to say one of the best scoring guards in the state, and I believe those two will play each other on Wednesday, right?
Right. And Central had to win at Millard North in the district final to even get the state. And
Yep.
I know you mentioned Jones from Central. She's a 4-year starter, and I'm sure that's the way she wants to finish her career is down at the state tournament. You mentioned Neely Gessert, her twin sister Nora Gessert. They're the driving forces behind Millard West. So that's two to definitely watch. Another one we should mention is Kennedy Williams from Lincoln Southwest. Nebraska coach Amy Williams' daughter has had a nice season, and she was hurt most of last season, so she's out to make amends this year. We mentioned Bellevue West, Naomi White, Annika Russell Brown, Kenzie Melcher, their big three. So that's three more to watch in Class A. So that's some really good players we're going to be talking about and watching in Class A.
And then we all know the one to watch in Class B. Talk about Britt, some of the historical records that she might break this week down at state.
Right. It's the main one is that she's at 2,400 career points, Dylan. That's put her at number 3. She's only 27 behind the player that's at number 2. She's not going to make it to number 1. She's about 250 points unless she has a monster, and I mean a monster state tournament. Obviously, she's not going to get that, but Darcy Strachey remains number 1. And it's amazing to think about what she did as a player when Britt Prince has done what she's done, and Britt is still 250 points or so behind her. So props to Darcy Strachey for her career, but also props to Britt Prince. And like we said, great scorer, 27 points a game, but also a great team player, leads the team in assists, leads the team in rebounds, leads the team in steals, just does it all. So we also mentioned McKenna Murphy. She is a solid player in her own right, maybe gets overshadowed a little by teammate Britt, but she's averaging about 20, and she's a very key part of that Elkhorn North team. So those are two players from Elkhorn North, but Scott, Molly Ladwig, really has stepped it up this year for the Skyhawks, and Peyton McCabe, another great scorer for Scott. So they haven't gotten where they are without talent like that. So those are probably four of the top players that we'll be looking at in Class B.
Yeah, I was looking at the stats. I think that combo that Scott has is averaging about 30 a game, the two of them combined, and that can be lethal when you combine that with the two-way defense that those girls play too. So, and then another one I wanted to throw out, Brooklyn Heineman from South Sioux City had a
Mhm.
phenomenal season, 17 points a game, almost 8 rebounds.
Right.
Kind of led the Cardinals to that 8 seed. So yeah, I believe she's a Briar Cliff commit too, so she's gonna be kind of staying around home and yeah, she's had an awesome season for the Cardinals.
He has, and they had to win their district final on the road. I think they won at Seward just to get to state.
Yeah,
So, yeah, 17.3 points a game. So she's, and talking about tradition, South Sioux City has won more titles than anybody with 12 back in the Kelly Flynn coaching days. So it's nice to see the Cardinals get back to state. It's been a little while since they've been there, but yeah, I think state tournament's better with South Sioux City there.
and then down at Beatrice, they can have a lethal combo scoring of the freshman Elijah Stabler. She's putting up 17 a game too, and then senior Addison Hatcliffe at 14 a game. So yeah, Beatrice kind of a new team to get into Class B. I think I don't think I remember them at the tournament last season.
They've had some success in the past, and again have stepped it up this year. And you mentioned the freshman Elijah Stabler, 17.1 points per game, and Hatcliffe. It seems like they've had a whole posse of Hatcliffes down there. That's great athletes at Beatrice. So that's how it works sometimes with the families. But yeah, the Lady Orange making it back to state. So I think that's also a good thing. They face Norris in the first round, so that'll be a tough one, but we'll see what happens.
You bet. So, any other players that you have that you're excited to watch over the next couple of days? PAT.
Well, I mentioned Olivia Loomis Bolto
Yeah.
from Bridgeport. We definitely need to talk about her for a minute, Dylan. Her sister Ruthie graduated, so Olivia has been carrying on this year, and Ruthie held the career scoring record there. She's at Colorado now. Well, I did a little deep dive on the internet and found out that Olivia tied her for the career scoring record there at Bridgeport. So when she scores her first point at the state tournament, she's going to have that record. So I think she's at 2,000
Wow.
points. So she's probably, I'd have to go back and check, but she's probably top 10 all time now, and maybe a little under the radar playing out in Bridgeport away from, the eastern half of the state. But she's another one that's fun to watch, a really good guard, and can make things happen out there. And so if you're watching, she's averaging 23 a game. So in Class C1, she's definitely one of the players to watch.
Definitely impressive, and yeah, I think she's going to break her sister's record pretty early in that game. That's my bold prediction for the week.
Okay, you're going out on a limb there. Her first
Yeah.
basket or her first free throw should do it. So, but yeah, she really had a nice season, and I didn't really know if Bridgeport was going to have quite the success that they've had without Ruthie, their center, and Olivia's sister. But boy, to their credit, unbeaten this season and going to state, and we'll see if they can finish it off the way they want to finish it off.
Yeah, like you said, they've been close for several years now, so it'd be cool if the Bulldogs could finish it off.
Yep, agreed.
Well, any other thoughts that you have, Mike, before we start this up?
Just ready to get it going, Dylan. The season, it seems long, but in some ways it seems like it's flown by. We're to this point of state tournament girls this week, boys next week. I talked about it this morning in the paper. There's a lot of great storylines to follow. Like I said, I thought one of the more interesting ones was North Bend getting back there and having a chance for 5 in a row. The Emmanuel sisters have always led the way there. I think they're on their last Emmanuel sister this year, Lindsay. She's averaging 16.2 points. So we'll see if North Bend can do it. They've got a tough first rounder in C1 against Lincoln Christian. But, like I said, Elkhorn North going for 4 in a row, and Millard West going for their first title. And what we spoke about in those other classes. So a lot of great storylines, a lot of great players, and just a lot of excitement heading into tomorrow and the 4-day state tournament.
Well, we're really looking forward to all of your coverage all week long. Make sure you get some rest today, though. We're taping this on a Tuesday morning. Get some rest before all the action ramps up tomorrow.
Maybe I should go to bed right now and maybe sleep for about 18 hours before it all starts, Dylan. That's not going to happen, but yeah, I'll be down there. Colleague Stu Pospisil will be down there, and yeah, we'll be covering both the girls and the boys tournaments, top to bottom, and hopefully everybody will be following us on social media and every other way. So we've been doing it a long time, and we're going to be back there again this week and next week.
Yeah, catch all of your tweets on X and all your stuff on omaha.com, and of course the OWH paper as well. So all right, Mike, have a good week, and we will talk to you later.
All right, thanks, Dylan.